Happy Tag Tuesday. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I have the My Life in Books tag. I was tagged to do this by Sam from Samantha Reading and I believe that the original video is by Storybrooke. I will link both of their videos in the description box below for you to go check out. This is essentially a tag about books that represent certain times in your life and just things about me, essentially. A couple of these questions I haven't yet pulled books for because I think it's more fun to do it while I'm doing the tag. But let's just get into it. Number 1 is to find a book for each of your initials. My initials are RLB. Okay, so the first one is super accurate and that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and like my name is Rebecca, so that works really well. And then for L, I picked up The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. And for B, Batman Nightwalker by Marie Lu. Number 2 is Count Your Age Along Your Shelf, and I'm glad I did this week and not next week because it's my birthday in a week and that's depressing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ugh. And the 24th book on my shelf is Safe House by Meg Cabot, which I believe is the 3rd book in the Missing series. It's about a girl who goes missing. I haven't read this in ages, but I do want to reread this series, so there's that. Number 3 is pick a book set in your city or town. I did pull 2 for this and I pulled 1984 by George Orwell because George Orwell wrote a book called The Road to Wigan Pier, and Wigan Pier is a canal pier in Wigan. Wigan is the town that I grew up in. Long-winded story. I haven't read it, but I guess it's set in Wigan because it's called The Road to Wigan Pier. And then also Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, which is set in the Yorkshire Moors. I don't live in the Yorkshire Moors or really near them, but I do live in Yorkshire, so I also picked that. Number 4 is pick a book that represents a destination you'd love to travel to. For that I picked up The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which I have yet to read, but it is based on a Greek myth and I would love to visit Greece. I think it's a country steeped in history. Of course, since the recession, like everything in Greece has gone like sky high because they essentially bottomed out on their funds. So it's a little pricey to go there right now, but I would love to go to Athens or anywhere in Greece and sort of experience the history there. Also, it's really hot and I love the sun. Number 5 is pick a book that is your favourite colour. So my favourite colour is turquoise or teal, and like purple I really like as well. So I picked Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton, which has got like the lovely turquoise and teal tones on it. As well as that, I really like gold. Like in terms of book covers, my favourite covers are anything that has gold on it. So I love how shiny this is and I think these covers are absolutely beautiful. Question number 6 is which book do you have the fondest memories of? For this, it's not just the book as in like the story, it's the actual physical book, and that is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. This was the first UK cover that was printed. As you can see, it's been well loved. It is literally falling apart even without the jacket on. It's pretty grim. I've read this particular book 15 times and I know somewhere there is lager spilled on the pages because I was drinking a shandy when I was like 13. My dad made me a shandy. I was drinking that in the garden and I spilled some on the pages. So this is well loved, tatty, and I can remember I used to wash my hands before I read this book every single time. So if I was reading a few chapters and then I put it down and came back an hour later, I would wash my hands before touching the book. So I have a lot of memories attached to this because I absolutely adored it. Number 7 is which book did you have the most difficulty reading? For that I've gone with God's Grave. This is probably the most recent one I've had difficulty reading. Not because of the book, I just had a lot of shit going on in my life at that time. Like I was in a really big slump. So while I wanted to read the book, my head just wouldn't switch off to read, so it took me pretty much a full month to read God's Grave. So this I did struggle quite a bit with reading. And the last question, question 8, is what book in your TBR pile will be the biggest accomplishment to read? And I've actually pulled 2 for this question. The first one is Vanity Fair by William Thackeray Makepeace. This one I'm not really counting because if I were to read it, it would be the biggest accomplishment because it's huge and a classic. However, I bought this because it's the Penguin English Library edition and I want to have them all, but I don't think I'm ever going to read this book. I don't have much interest in it, and it's like a bit too big for me to invest my time in if I'm not super interested. But one that I actually do intend to read, Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the bind-up of all 3 Lord of the Rings books, and it smells like old book. I think if I was to read this, I would read it individually, like I'd split it up into books, but this entire thing is over 1,100 pages, and I have heard that J.R.R. Tolkien's books are actually quite difficult to read because it's quite a dense fantasy tome. So I do intend to read this at some point, and I'm gonna feel so good when I do it. So that's it for the My Life in Books tag. I'm going to tag a few people. I'm going to tag Serena from A Wandering Mind, Darby from Darby Lane Reading, and Mel from Mel Moriarty. Please don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to. If you head into the description box below, you can find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, as well as a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website, and the Instagram, and a 10% off discount code for that if you'd like to check any of that out. But that's it from me today. Bye!